I feel like I've been uploading videos like every single day for the past like week or so. Not week or so, it's been like 3 days. And it's not gonna stop because booktubeathon is this week, so I'm sorry, but more videos. Hello lovely people, my name is Nicole and today I am doing my July wrap up. I read a decent amount of books in July, given the fact that I've been really busy this month just like hanging out with people, and I was at camp for the first week. I didn't read as much as I have in the past, but I'm okay with that. I'm proud of what I've done. And I know that in August, at least in the first part of August before I go off to college, I'll be doing a lot more reading, because booktubeathon. So, the first book that I have to show you is Tigerlily by Jodi Lynn Anderson. This is about, it's sort of a prequel kind of to Peter Pan. There's a little bit of overlap, but it's told from Tinkerbell's perspective about Tigerlily. And so it's this really interesting mixture of it's being told from a point of view that we don't really see before, and it's about a character that we don't really see before. And I just found it really interesting, the style of writing where your narrator is not the main character. It's really interesting and it's really different, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And like written down each individual like piece of this book I really enjoyed. I liked the characters, I liked the plot. I think it didn't really connect with me emotionally, and I think that a lot of that probably has to do with the environment that I was reading it in. I was reading it while I was at camp, and so I was very much emotionally otherwise occupied. So it didn't quite hit the spot for me, but technically I think it's very well done. I definitely recommend it to other people if you like the Peter Pan story, or if you like fairy tale retellings or any of that sort of thing. I gave this 3.75 stars. The next book I read was How to Be a Woman by Caitlin Moran. This is a non-fiction sort of memoir. It's a memoir, but it's more of using her own experiences to sort of talk about feminism and talk about various aspects of being a woman. Overall, I enjoyed this. I definitely think Caitlin Moran brings up a lot of really good points. There were a lot of things that I definitely agreed with. There were also a lot of things that I didn't agree with. I think she has a habit of talking about women sort of all lumped together and, you know, assuming that everyone shares her same point of view. And that if one of the things that she's saying or thinking is an unpopular opinion, that, you know, everyone's thinking that they're just too afraid to say it. Which I definitely don't agree with. There were just a couple of things that she brought up that she sort of presented as universal truths that don't hold true for me. But overall, I enjoyed this. I would definitely recommend it if you're interested in feminism, although I definitely think it's important to go into this kind of book with a grain of salt and recognize that this is just one person's perspective and one person's opinion. And you know, you can take what you need from it and leave what you don't like, what doesn't resonate with you, and that's okay. So I gave this 3 stars. The next book I read was Between the Lines by Jodi Picoult and Samantha Van Leer. This is about a girl named Delilah who is reading her favorite storybook, and one day she realizes that the main character is talking to her and he wants a way out of the book and he wants into her world, and they sort of fall in love with each other. I enjoyed this. I think I ended up giving it 4 stars. I definitely agree with a lot of people saying that it reads a little bit more like a middle grade than a young adult. Delilah, I feel like, is emotionally more like a preteen than than a more mature teenager. I did enjoy this book. I loved the plot. I love the romance in it. And so I definitely recommend it if you're looking for something light and fun and just cute and entertaining. The next book I read was Off the Page by Jodi Picoult and Samantha Van Leer, which is the sequel to Between the Lines. This picks up a few weeks, I think, after Between the Lines, and I can't tell you what the premise is because it spoils things. I didn't like this one quite as much as the first one. There was a lot more like petty teenage drama. That there were a number of times where Delilah would do things and I was just like, are you kidding me? Calm down. Trust this guy that you're supposed to be in a relationship with, that you're supposed to love. Also, the relationship started to feel a little bit more insta-lovey and less like, you know, two people who, you know, meet and develop feelings for each other. They were suddenly very much like, oh, we're soulmates, we love each other so much, we're meant to be together. I can't believe this thing happened, but we're meant to be together. And I'm like, calm down. You guys are like 16. Breathe. You've known each other for a couple weeks. So that annoyed me. And also a couple of the plot points started to feel a bit repetitive, especially with things from the first book that were sort of mirrored in this book. Jules and Edgar started to be way more interesting to me than Delilah and Oliver. I just sort of got annoyed and bored with them. But Jules and Edgar I found more and more interesting, and so that they sort of saved this book for me. Overall, I did still enjoy it. I gave it like 3.75 stars. Just not quite as much as the first one. The next book I read was actually a graphic novel, and that is Rat Queens Volume 1, Sass and Sorcery. This is so much fun. It's about 4 best friends who are various fairy tale creatures, like one of them's a dwarf and an elf and all those things. And it's just, it's sassy and it's like vulgar at times in just the right way. And these girls are badasses. I highly recommend this. Warning, it does have some more mature content. These are women who talk very candidly about, you know, drinking and sex and things like that. So if you're younger, maybe not, this might not be for you yet. But I definitely recommend it. I gave it 5 stars. So much fun. I cannot wait to pick up the second one. The next book I read was Beyond the Kingdoms, which is the 4th book in the Land of Stories series by Chris Colfer. This series is wonderful, has a special place in my heart. I absolutely love it. It's about 2 twins named Alex and Connor who fall through their grandmother's storybook into the Land of Stories, which is the it's like this island where all the fairy tale creatures and characters live, and they're sort of living there in their kingdoms after the fairy tales, and Alex and Connor are now interacting with them and making friends. And that's sort of the basic premise of the first book that carries on through the rest of the series. And in this one, we get to see a couple non-fairy tale storybooks come to life. And I absolutely loved this. In general, I just love the series. It's really cute, it's really fun, and Chris Colfer just does so well of making all these characters that, you know, you've heard about for so long just really come to life in a new and interesting and really just like vibrant way. Particularly Mother Goose. I absolutely love Mother Goose. I highly recommend this series to pretty much everyone. I gave this 5 stars. Next, I read The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. This is the first book in the Remnant Chronicles series, which is about Princess Leia, who is engaged to be married to a man from a neighboring kingdom, a prince, who she has never met. And she is not so down with the idea of marrying a stranger, so she runs away with her best friend to live in this small town. But one day, 2 boys show up, and one of them is the prince that she was supposed to marry, and one of them is the assassin who was sent to kill her, and she doesn't know which is which. She doesn't even know that one of them's a prince and one of them's an assassin. We know as an audience that one of them's a prince, one of them is an assassin, but we don't know which. And it's really well done. There's this whole mystery aspect, trying to sort of guess which boy is which, whether we should be mad at her for falling for this cute boy because he might be an assassin, or excited for her because he might be a prince. And it's really confusing in the best way possible. I really enjoyed it. My one problem was that it felt like Leah, especially closer to the end, was a little bit wishy-washy on her feelings. You know, she would feel certain very strong feelings about each boy, and then suddenly, with no explanation, seemingly out of the blue, she would suddenly be like, hey, now I feel completely different about you. And I just found it really confusing. I couldn't really follow her train of thought there. But that being said, I really, really enjoyed this, and I'm very much excited to pick up the second one. I have it, just need to find time to pick it up. I'll probably get to it after Booktubeathon. But I gave this 4 stars. Next, I read The Wicked and the Divine, Volume 2, Fandemonium. This picks up a few months after the first one ends, and I absolutely love the series. If you don't know, it's about a set of, I think, 11 or 12 gods who every 90 years get reincarnated for 2 years, and then they all die. And while they're on Earth, they are basically just huge celebrities. This series is so good. The art is absolutely gorgeous. The storyline I find to be a little bit confusing at times, mostly just because there's a lot of characters to keep track of, and a lot of things are going on at once. But it's so entertaining, and it's very gripping, very, you know, it keeps your attention. Even when you're not 100% sure what's going on, it's still really cool and really interesting. So I gave this 4 stars. I highly recommend picking up this series. And the last book I read this month was On the Fence by Casey West, and I absolutely loved this. I gave it 5 stars. If you don't know, this is about a girl who's grown up with 3 different brothers and 1 more boy who lives next door who she considers to be her brother because he's grown up with her and her brothers, and they've all been best friends forever. And they're all super sporty, super athletic. She's not all girly girl. Her mom died when she was young, so she never really had anyone to teach her how to do her makeup or, you know, be girly. And so she's always just been sporty with her family, with her brothers and with her dad. And then one day she gets 1 too many tickets, and her dad makes her get a job, and the only place where she can find a job is this super girly boutique. So she has to sort of now learn how to balance, you know, she's learning more that being girly is okay, and yet she's still trying to balance this sort of learning, I don't want to say how to be a girl because, like, it's not like she was doing being a girl wrong before, but learning more, you know, exploring her feminine side and balancing that with, you know, the expectations she has from her brothers. And she's been talking to the cute boy next door, and maybe she might think she might have feelings for him. This is so cute. It's absolutely adorable. I was worried in the beginning because for the first little bit I was having a lot of trouble relating to Charlie, our main character, because, like I said, she's very sporty, not at all girly, and that's not me. But as I got to know her more, there's a lot of things that she struggles with that I feel like are very, I don't want to say universal, but common things that teenage girls struggle with. You know, about deciding who you want to be and learning to do things for yourself and not to make other people happy. And I absolutely love this. I love Casey West's writing. It's so good. All her books are so cute. I loved this. I give it 5 stars. I highly recommend this to anyone who wants a cute, fluffy contemporary. Basically any of her books are fantastic for that. Alright, so that was all the books that I read in July. I'm pretty happy based on how busy I was that I was able to get this much reading done. I hope you enjoyed this. I have a lot of these I have done full written reviews on Goodreads, which I will link in the doobly-doo. I love you, and I will see you later.